Welcome back to How to Become a Freelancer in 30 Days. This is Anthony Chatfield. Today, on day 26, we're going to talk about creating a 60-second sales pitch. And the reason I set this up as a very standalone lecture is because so many people have trouble doing this. I know I certainly did. And it becomes even harder the more you do freelance work, especially if you decide to go full-time at some point. Telling people what you do and how you do it, and actually selling yourself instead of kind of demurring and saying, "Oh, I just do freelance," because then that's the answer. They're not going to ask any further questions. So today we're going to talk about how to start reviewing ways to generate work offline when you're interacting with people off the internet, how to create an elevator pitch you can deliver when you meet those people, so having an answer when they ask what you do, and then looking for opportunities to network offline, like where can you go and how can you meet these people and use your pitch. So your pitch should have a few things in it. First off, you want to avoid just saying what you do all day. That's the easy answer, and it doesn't really help. If somebody asks what you do, I used to say, "I'm a writer," and the first question they would ask me is, "Well, what have you written? Is there anything online I can see?" And the answer was always no, because I ghost wrote a bunch of stuff for, websites about health and fitness equipment and dog training, and not only did I not really want to share that, but it was hard to find anyways. So instead, what you want to do is talk about where there's a need, so kind of the pain point that leads people to hire you, how you specifically fill that need, and then why you are why you specifically are the person that anybody should choose to fill that need. And you want to do it really concisely and in language anyone can understand. So for example, instead of saying "I'm a writer," I would say, every website needs a lot of content, not only to make the search engines happy, but to ensure people who land on that website find the information they need. I develop copy that matches search engine requirements and speaks to the human so that it converts at a high level. And I've been doing it for 5 years and have helped launch 100 websites. That's my pitch, or it would have been my pitch 5-6 years ago when I was writing website copy for SEO standards. It changes over time. It depends on what kind of work you're doing. But if you give that answer instead of saying "I'm a writer," people, not only do they understand what you do and why you do it, but they understand why they or someone they know might hire you if they need somebody for that specific need. You're describing a situation that they might actually be in or know somebody who is in, and that's how you get people to start referencing you and referring you to other people. So the key then, the last thing on that, is just to avoid using jargon or acronyms or anything that's going to make it hard to understand. Talk in terms they understand. So like, you want to get the website ranked in Google, there's a special formula, you don't have to tell them what it is, in the content that helps make that possible. I know that formula, and I can utilize it when writing copy. That's the kind of information you want to share in your little pitch. And it's going to help because it makes it relatable to people. Everybody, especially in the business world, everybody's dealt with that, trying to get a website ranked in Google. That makes you relatable, and it helps them to understand what you do. At the same time, make sure you're matching your pitch to your audience. So it's going to be different in different places. For example, if you're talking to a group of real estate agents at a networking event, they're going to be very, very interested in that whole part about ranking in Google and getting people to convert on a website. Whereas if you're talking to your family or friends from college, maybe they don't care as much. Maybe you can focus more on the part where you help build businesses or promote a new young business. Instead of saying, I optimize content to get it ranked in Google, you can say, I help small businesses grow their websites so people can find them. It's the exact same thing, but the messaging changes depending on who you're talking to. At the same time, you should practice often with family and friends. Your family and your friends and anybody they know are going to ask you what you do. Those are great times to practice and kind of engage in conversation. Go to networking events and answer honestly when someone asks what you do. Use these responses, and it will start a conversation. People will be interested in what you say, regardless of what field you're in. They do want to learn more about how freelancing can help them. All right, and then always speak positively. Never say, "Oh, I'm just a writer. Oh, I'm just a developer. Oh, I just do some, cheap web copy for people." People are going to take you at face value. If you say, "Oh, it's just this," they're like, "Oh, okay, it's just that." Make it sound exciting. Make it sound interesting. Make it sound important. If you do all those things, people will believe that it's interesting and exciting and important, and you'll start to believe it too, and you'll actually enjoy the work you do. If you start talking down or don't want to answer that question or feel self-conscious about being a freelancer instead of having a full-time job, it's going to make it very hard to have these conversations. In the end, you're actually a business owner. You do work, you consult for other businesses. That's the conversation you want to have. Why do we do all this? Anybody can be a client. You never know who's going to need what you can offer. If you answer this question to your cousin at Christmas and he's like, oh, you know what? My boss has actually been talking about needing somebody to do that for us. Bam, you just got a good lead. You never really know when it's going to happen. So always be prepared to answer this question, exuberantly and with a lot of energy and information so that people can make a decision on whether or not that's interesting to them. You're constantly selling yourself. As a business owner, you have to be selling yourself. And honestly, if you haven't yet, get some business cards so that when you have this conversation, you can give them a card. And if they do think that's interesting, they can share that. All right. And then finally, looking for offline networking opportunities. There's a lot of stuff you can find on sites like lanyard.com, has a lot of local conferences, and meetup.com is even more local. This is like little groups that people put together in your area. Both are going to have a ton of events in your area. Look up business events or industry events based on like the niche that you're targeting. Try to attend at least one event per month. It's exhausting. I'm not going to lie to you. But when you go to these events regularly, people start to learn who you are. You build a reputation. You build an audience. It gets a lot easier because you've done it multiple times. And you're going to meet a lot of people. And you never know how many leads you're going to pull out of that conversation. And then if you really, really get into it, you can join local mastermind groups or online discussions. These are people who get together regularly to talk about business and how they can help each other grow their businesses. The Warrior Forum is great for this. You can also find meetups that do it. Or you can just get together with people, via Craigslist or online forums and discuss things either in person or on Skype. All right, so for today's actions, I want you to create that 60-second elevator pitch for your services. Order some free business cards from overnightprints.com. Hand them out to people you meet, just so you have them when you have those conversations. And then tell at least 3 people you know tomorrow what you're doing and why. Even if it's your spouse or your children, just get it out. You've practiced this, get those words out there and discuss what you're doing and why you're doing it. And it'll help you kind of get into that mindset. All right, so that's everything for today. Make sure you leave any questions or comments below. If you have any additional questions beyond what you've seen here, please shoot them over to me. And if you haven't yet, please leave a review for the program. I'd absolutely appreciate it. All right, so we will talk tomorrow.